What if the most profound truths about your life's direction, deeper even than what meditation retreats or ancient texts can fully convey, are whispered to you every single night by beings you've been trained to dismiss as fantasy? Think about the last dream you actually remembered, not the bizarre fragmented chaos of random neurons firing, but that other kind of dream, the one where you woke up with a strange certainty, a feeling that someone or something had just shown you exactly what you needed to see. The mystics called this phenomenon dreamwalking, and it's not what you think. This isn't about passive dreaming or lucid dream control. This is about consciously stepping into a realm where angelic intelligences, cosmic guides, celestial beings, whatever name feels true to you, are actively waiting to communicate with the deepest part of who you are. In 1913, Carl Jung experienced something that would reshape modern psychology forever. He began having vivid, structured dreams where he met what he called his cosmic group, a council of wise figures who taught him about the collective unconscious. Jung didn't consider these mere symbols. He wrote in his private journals that these encounters felt more real than waking life, that he was being instructed by intelligences far older than his individual psyche. For decades, he kept this secret, fearing professional ridicule. But late in his life, he admitted that everything he contributed to psychology came from those nocturnal teachings, from that practice of intentionally entering the dream state to receive direct guidance. What Jung discovered, and what ancient mystery schools across every civilization knew, is that sleep is not an absence of consciousness, but a doorway into it. And on the other side of that doorway, there are guides, beings of light and intelligence, waiting to help you align with your authentic path. The ancient Greeks practiced temple sleep, the Egyptians built dream incubation chambers, the Vedic seers spoke of entering the Turiya state to commune with devas. This is not New Age fantasy. This is a perennial technology of consciousness, and it's available to you tonight. So, here's what we're going to explore. First, we'll decode what dreamwalking actually is, stripping away the misconceptions and getting to the practical, achievable core. Then, we'll prepare your inner compass, the mental and spiritual conditions that make angelic contact possible. Next, we'll explore how to recognize your guides, how they communicate, and why they've been trying to reach you all along. After that, we'll learn the art of interpretation, translating the symbolic language of dreams into actionable wisdom. And finally, we'll bridge the worlds, bringing that cosmic guidance into your waking decisions, your daily life, your authentic self-expression. But before we walk this path together, we need to confront a question that changes everything. If angels or cosmic intelligences are real and actively trying to guide us, why does it feel like we're living in total darkness, disconnected and alone? Here's the uncomfortable truth. You are not disconnected because the guides aren't there. You're disconnected because you've been taught to live in a state of consciousness that makes their voices inaudible. Imagine your mind as a radio. Right now, in your waking state, that radio is tuned to a single station, the frequency of survival, social performance, and endless mental chatter. It's loud, chaotic, dominated by fear-based thinking and the ego's constant need to maintain its story of who you are. The angelic realm, the realm of cosmic guidance, operates on an entirely different frequency, and the only time your radio naturally shifts to that frequency is when the ego loosens its grip, when the survival mind goes offline. That happens most profoundly during deep sleep. But here's where it gets fascinating. Dreamwalking is not passive. You're not waiting for angels to break through the static. You're intentionally tuning the radio before you sleep, setting a clear signal, and then consciously entering the dream state with receptivity and awareness. The ancient Greeks understood this. In the 4th century BCE, sick and desperate people would travel to the Asclepian temples dedicated to the god of healing. They would undergo purification rituals, fasting, prayers, and then sleep in the abaton, the sacred chamber. They called this practice enkoimesis, temple sleep, and they reported that divine beings, sometimes Asclepios himself, would appear in dreams to diagnose illness, prescribe remedies, or perform symbolic surgeries that manifested as physical healing upon waking. The historian Gabriele Quinque documented hundreds of these cases in her research on ancient dream incubation. She found inscriptions at Epidaurus where people described exact instructions given by divine presences in dreams, instructions that contradicted the medical knowledge of the time, but resulted in miraculous cures. This wasn't superstition. This was a sophisticated understanding that consciousness extends beyond the individual brain, that there are intelligences within the cosmos who perceive our needs and can communicate solutions when we open the channel. Plotinus, the great Neoplatonist philosopher, explained this through his concept of the Anima Mundi, the world soul. He taught that every individual soul is not separate, but immersed in this vast, interconnected ocean of consciousness. Above the world soul is the divine intellect, the nous, an infinite intelligence that comprehends all things simultaneously. Because your soul is part of the world soul, the divine intellect perceives your needs, your questions, your struggles, and it communicates with you through intermediary beings, what the Greeks called daimons, and later traditions called angels, guides, or celestial intelligences. These beings operate at the boundary between the human and the divine, translating the wordless wisdom of the nous into symbols, feelings, and visions your dreaming mind can grasp. What if every ancient tradition that spoke of angelic guidance, from the Bible's visions to the Vedic devas, from the Islamic concept of ilham to the shamanic spirit guides of indigenous cultures, wasn't talking about metaphor, but about direct, experiential contact with intelligences embedded in the fabric of reality itself? This isn't just mystical poetry. There are specific, observable experiences in your own life that suggest this model is true. You felt it when a dream warned you about someone before you consciously noticed red flags. You felt it when you woke with the solution to a problem that stumped you for weeks. You felt it in those moments of synchronicity where the dream symbol appeared in waking life the very next day. Impossible to dismiss as coincidence. These aren't flukes. These are breadcrumbs, evidence that something beyond your individual consciousness is reaching toward you. So now the real question becomes, if the channel is always open, if the guides are always present, what specific practices allow us to not just hear them, but to engage in a conscious dialogue, to walk with them through the dreamscape and return with clarity? Let's learn how to prepare. The first preparation, quieting the watchtower. Before you can hear the whispers of angels, you have to silence the guard that stands at the threshold of your sleep. That guard is your everyday mind, the part of you that rehearses conversations, replays anxieties, plans tomorrow, and judges every stray thought. This mental noise doesn't just vanish when you close your eyes. It follows you into the early stages of sleep, creating those fragmented, chaotic dreams where your boss turns into your childhood dog and you're late for an exam in a language you don't speak. These aren't messages. These are just the mind processing stress. The ancient practice of evening contemplation was designed specifically to quiet this watchtower. It's not complicated. 30 minutes before sleep, you step away from all screens, all stimulation, all conversation. You sit in a quiet space, perhaps with a candle, perhaps in darkness, and you do nothing but breathe and observe your thoughts without engaging them. You watch them pass like clouds. You don't meditate to achieve some transcendent state. You're simply letting the day settle, letting the urgency drain away, signaling to your subconscious that you're shifting frequencies. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius described this practice in his Meditations. He wrote, "When you lie down, review the day. Ask yourself what disturbed your peace, what caused reaction, what was beyond your control, then release it." Sleep is a return to the vastness. He understood that sleep wasn't just rest. It was a return to something larger, and that return required preparation. Here's the practice. For the next 3 nights, 30 minutes before sleep, sit in a comfortable position with your spine straight. Close your eyes and take 10 slow breaths, counting each one. Then mentally review your day, not with judgment, but with observation. Notice what triggered emotion, what felt aligned, what felt off. Don't analyze it, just witness it. After this review, speak silently to yourself. I release the day. I open to guidance. I am ready to listen. This simple ritual trains your subconscious to recognize that sleep is no longer collapse, but transition, a deliberate crossing into another state of awareness. You might feel silly the first time you do this. That's the ego resisting. It wants to stay in control, to keep the radio locked on its station. But by the 3rd or 4th night, you'll notice something shifting. The quality of your sleep changes. The dreams become more vivid, more structured, less chaotic. You're not creating this change. You're simply removing the static so the signal can come through. And once the static clears, you'll begin to notice the second preparation, the power of a clear question. The second preparation, the sacred question. Angels do not impose. Cosmic guides do not force revelation. They respond to invitation, and the most powerful form of invitation is a clearly articulated question posed before sleep. This is where most people fail. They lie in bed wishing vaguely for guidance or answers, but vague questions receive vague responses. The dreamwalking traditions understood that specificity is key. You don't ask, "What should I do with my life?" You ask, "What is the next aligned step in my career that honors both my need for stability and my creative truth?" You don't ask, "Am I on the right path?" You ask, "Show me where I am resisting my authentic path and what that resistance is protecting me from." The difference is profound. Specific questions give your guides and your deeper consciousness something concrete to work with. They create a focal point, a target for the symbolic language of dreams to aim toward. In the 16th century, the physician Paracelsus taught his students a practice he called imaginatio. Before sleep, they would write their question on parchment, fold it, and place it under their pillow while visualizing the question surrounded by light. Then, they would fall asleep with the intention of receiving the answer in dream form. Paracelsus claimed that his greatest medical insights came not from books but from the physicians of the night, the spiritual guides who taught him in dreams when his ego was asleep. Here's how to craft your sacred question. Take a journal and write at the top, "What I seek to understand." Then beneath it, write your question in one clear sentence. Don't make it complicated. Make it honest. If you're struggling with a relationship, ask specifically about that. If you're facing a career decision, name the decision. If you're feeling lost, ask to be shown one concrete sign of your purpose. After writing the question, read it aloud 3 times. This isn't magic. This is neurology. Speaking aloud activates different brain regions than thinking or writing. You're encoding the question deeper, making it the last conscious thought before you sleep. Then, as you lie down, hold the question gently in your mind. Don't force it. Don't obsess over it. Just let it rest there like a seed planted in soil. Your only job is to stay open to whatever response comes, even if it arrives in a form you don't expect. Because here's what happens next. Your guides begin to respond. And the way they respond is unlike anything your waking mind can conceive. The third gateway, recognizing the presence. How do you know when an angel, a guide, a cosmic intelligence is actually present in your dream versus just your subconscious recycling memories? This is the question that stops most seekers cold. They have profound dreams, but then doubt creeps in. Was that real, or did I just imagine it? Let me give you the markers, the signs that mystics across traditions have identified as evidence of genuine contact. First, there is a distinct quality of presence. When a guide appears in a dream, there is an overwhelming sense of being seen, truly seen, in a way that no human has ever seen you. It's not judgment, it's complete recognition. You feel known down to your essence, and that recognition brings a feeling of profound safety or awe, sometimes both. The dream doesn't feel like you're watching a movie. It feels like you're in a conversation with someone far wiser and more compassionate than anyone you've met in waking life. Second, the communication is non-linear. Angels rarely speak in full sentences. They communicate through feelings, through symbolic images, through scenarios that unfold with dream logic, yet carry unmistakable meaning. You might dream of a guide handing you a key, and upon waking, you instantly know what door in your life that key represents. The interpretation isn't intellectual, it's intuitive, immediate, felt in your body. Third, there is often a physical sensation. Many people report feeling a warmth in their chest, a tingling at the crown of their head, or a sense of being held or embraced. Some describe seeing light, not as visual light, but as a presence of luminosity that makes everything in the dream feel more vivid, more real than reality. The Sufi mystics called this the Nur, the divine light that signals proximity to the angelic realms. Carl Jung documented his own encounters with what he called the wise old man archetype, a recurring figure in his dreams who taught him profound psychological truths. Jung was skeptical by nature, trained in science and medicine, yet he couldn't deny that these dreams had a teaching quality, a coherence and wisdom that exceeded his conscious knowledge. He eventually concluded that this figure was either an autonomous aspect of his deeper psyche, or, and he left this possibility open, an actual transpersonal intelligence communicating through the symbolic language of his unconscious. Here's what you need to understand. Doubt is natural. The ego will always try to explain away the numinous, but doubt doesn't negate the experience. You don't need absolute certainty to begin working with guidance. You only need willingness. Keep a dream journal by your bed. The moment you wake, before you move, before you check your phone, write down everything you remember. Don't edit, don't analyze, just record. Over time, patterns will emerge. Certain symbols will repeat. Certain figures will return. And slowly, through that repetition, you'll begin to recognize your cosmic team, the specific guides who are walking with you. And once you recognize them, the real work begins, learning their language. The fourth practice, decoding the symbolic lexicon. Dreams do not speak English. They don't speak any human language. They speak in symbols, and symbols operate on multiple levels simultaneously. This is why dream dictionaries are useless. The snake in your dream doesn't mean the same thing as the snake in my dream. Symbols are personal, contextual, alive. But there are archetypal patterns, recurring motifs that appear across cultures and throughout history. Water, for instance, almost always relates to emotion, the unconscious, the flow of life. Flying often relates to freedom, transcendence, or escaping limitation. Doors and thresholds represent transition, choice, the movement from one state of being to another. These are not fixed meanings, they're starting points, frameworks, through which your personal associations layer additional meaning. The Jungian analyst Marie-Louise von Franz spent 50 years studying dreams and their relationship to what Jung called the self, the transcendent center of the psyche that connects to the cosmic whole. She discovered that when people are approaching a major life transition, their dreams become increasingly symbolic, filled with images of death and rebirth, of descent into darkness, followed by emergence into light. She called these individuation dreams, dreams that are not just processing daily stress, but guiding the dreamer toward their authentic wholeness. Here's the technique for interpretation. When you record a dream, don't just write the narrative. Write how you felt during each part of the dream. Feelings are the compass. If you dreamed of being chased, was the feeling terror or exhilaration? If you dreamed of a guide offering you a gift, was the feeling gratitude or suspicion? The emotional texture tells you what layer of your psyche the dream is addressing. Then, ask yourself, if this dream were a message from someone who loves me deeply and wants me to grow, what would they be trying to show me? This reframe is crucial. It shifts you from passive observer to active participant. You're not decoding a puzzle. You're receiving a teaching tailored specifically to your current state of consciousness. One of the most powerful symbols in guidance dreams is the mirror or reflection. If you dream of seeing yourself in a mirror, but your reflection is different, younger, older, wiser, wounded, this is often your guide showing you an aspect of yourself you need to integrate. The reflection isn't judgment, it's revelation. It's saying, here is a part of you that you've ignored or rejected, and reclaiming it is your next step. Practice this. After recording a dream, close your eyes and re-enter it imaginatively. See the dream scene again, but this time ask questions aloud. Why did you give me that key? What do you want me to understand about the storm? You might feel foolish speaking to dream images, but remember, you're not speaking to fantasies. You're speaking to aspects of your deeper consciousness, and through them to the intelligences guiding you. Answers will come, sometimes as words, sometimes as feelings, sometimes as new images that clarify the original symbol. The more you practice this dialogue, the more sophisticated your dream communication becomes. Your guides will begin to speak in more direct ways because you've proven you're listening. And that listening, that consistent engagement, creates a flow between the worlds. Which brings us to the most transformative practice of all, bringing the guidance into waking life. The fifth integration, from dream wisdom to embodied action. This is where dreamwalking transcends spirituality and becomes life-changing. Guidance that stays in the dream world is beautiful but incomplete. The entire purpose of angelic communication is to align your waking life with your soul's authentic path. The guides don't speak to entertain you. They speak to redirect you, to illuminate the blind spots, to encourage the steps you're avoiding. So how do you translate a symbolic dream into concrete action? You ask yourself one question. If I trusted that this dream is true guidance, what would I do differently today? Let's say you dreamed of a guide showing you a garden overgrown with weeds, but beneath the weeds, you glimpse vibrant flowers struggling to grow. Upon waking, you feel the garden represents your creative projects, neglected because you've been consumed by obligations. The weeds are the distractions, the commitments that feel important but drain your vitality. The flowers are your authentic work, still alive but suffocating. If you trust this dream as guidance, the action is clear. Identify one weed, one commitment or habit that you can remove this week. Not all of them, just one. And identify one flower, one creative project you can give 20 minutes of attention today. This is how dream guidance becomes embodied, not through grand transformations, but through small, aligned choices that accumulate into a life lived in integrity. The 13th century Christian mystic Mechthild of Magdeburg described receiving visions and dreams from what she called the flowing light of the Godhead, messages from divine messengers. But she emphasized that these visions were useless if they didn't result in compassionate action, in living more authentically and serving others more deeply. She wrote, "The soul that merely hears God's voice but does not walk in it becomes a tomb, not a temple." Here's the practice for integration. Create what I call a dream action journal. After interpreting a guidance dream, write one specific small action you will take within the next 24 hours based on that guidance. Not someday, tomorrow. Then do it. And note what happens. The universe or your guides respond to action. When you demonstrate that you're willing to trust the guidance becomes clearer, more frequent, more direct. You'll also begin to notice something extraordinary. Synchronicities multiply. The symbol from your dream appears in waking life. The person you need to meet crosses your path. The opportunity you were shown in the dream manifests in unexpected ways. This isn't magic, it's alignment. When you move in the direction your soul wants to go, reality conspires to support that movement because you're no longer fighting against your deeper purpose. And as this alignment deepens, you'll realize something profound. The guides aren't separate from you. They're the bridge between your temporary human self and your eternal cosmic self. They're you, calling to you from a dimension of awareness you've forgotten but are remembering night by night. The sixth anchor, protecting the sacred connection. One final practice is essential and it's often overlooked: energetic protection. When you open yourself to the angelic realms, you're opening to subtle dimensions of consciousness. Most of what you encounter will be benevolent, but not all. There are lower vibrational energies, thought forms, and entities that can masquerade as guides. How do you discern? True angelic guidance always leaves you feeling expanded, empowered, loved, and called toward growth. It may challenge you, but the challenge is compassionate. False guidance leaves you feeling diminished, fearful, manipulated, or superior to others. If a dream figure commands you, judges harshly, or encourages separation from others, that's not a guide. That's a projection of your own shadow or a lower entity. The simple protection is intention. Before sleep, as part of your evening ritual, speak aloud or silently. I open only to beings of the highest light, those aligned with my soul's evolution and the greater good. All else is dismissed. This is not paranoia. This is discernment. You're setting a clear boundary, and in the subtle realms, intention is law. The Kabbalistic tradition teaches that angels respond to names of God spoken with reverence. The Islamic tradition teaches that reciting Bismillah in the name of the divine before sleep invites protective angels. You don't need to adopt specific religious language, but invoking the highest source you understand, whether you call it God, Source, the universe, or simply love, creates a sacred container for your dream-walking practice. And within that container, the dialogue flourishes, the revelation that rewrites everything. Here's where it gets truly strange. Every practice we've explored, every technique for connecting with angelic guides, they all point to something that defies our basic assumptions about time, identity, and separation. What if the angels, the guides, the cosmic intelligences you're communicating with in dreams aren't external beings at all, but future versions of yourself reaching backward through time to guide your present self toward the choices that create them? Plotinus described the divine intellect as existing outside of time, perceiving all moments simultaneously. If consciousness, your consciousness, is ultimately non-local and eternal, connected to this timeless intelligence through the world's soul, then your higher self isn't metaphorical. It's you, having already lived this life, having learned the lessons, now operating from a vantage point beyond linear time. And from that vantage, it sends messages backward, appearing in your dreams as guides, as teachers, as angelic presences. This isn't science fiction. Physicist John Wheeler proposed a concept called retrocausality, the idea that quantum events can be influenced by future observations, If subatomic particles can be affected by future states, why not consciousness itself? Your future self, the version of you that has fully awakened, might be actively influencing your present through dreams, intuitions, synchronicities, those uncanny moments where you felt guided by something beyond your current understanding. Carl Jung speculated toward the end of his life that the figures in his dreams, the wise old man, the anima, the cosmic group, might be prospective aspects of his psyche, parts of himself that existed in potential and were reaching backward to help him become who he was meant to be. He stopped short of fully endorsing this idea publicly, but his private writings suggest he found it increasingly plausible. If this is true, then dreamwalking isn't communication with separate beings. It's your eternity calling to your temporality, your wholeness reminding your fragmentation of what it forgot. The angels are echoes of your completed self, and every guidance dream is a lifeline thrown from the shore you haven't reached yet, but already exist upon. Does that make the guidance less real? No. It makes it more intimate, more urgent, and infinitely more trustworthy, because the guide knows you completely. The guide is you, beyond the illusion of separation. The implications: living as if you are already whole. If your guides are your future wholeness reaching back, then every moment you ignore their whispers, you're choosing fragmentation over integration. Every time you dismiss a dream as meaningless, you're severing the connection between who you are and who you're becoming. But the inverse is also true. Every time you honor the guidance, record the dream, take the aligned action, you're strengthening that connection. You're collapsing the distance between your current self and your realized self. This is what the mystics meant by walking the path. The path isn't a journey towards something distant. It's the gradual recognition that you are already the destination, just fragmented across time. And dreamwalking is the thread that stitches you back together. The Buddhist concept of the bodhisattva captures this beautifully. A bodhisattva is a being who has achieved enlightenment but chooses to remain in samsara to guide others. What if you are the bodhisattva of your own life, your enlightened self, your completed consciousness, choosing to stay connected through dreams, through intuition, through synchronicity, to guide your human self through the maze of incarnation? This means the question isn't, am I worthy of angelic guidance? The question is, am I willing to listen to the part of me that already knows the way? And if the answer is yes, everything changes. You stop waiting for permission. You stop doubting your intuition. You stop asking external authorities for validation because the highest authority is speaking to you every night. You become the bridge between worlds, the human living in alignment with the cosmic, the temporary embodying the eternal. Your decisions shift. That job that pays well but drains your soul, the guidance dream already showed you it's a cage. That relationship where you keep hoping the other person will change, the guide already revealed it's a mirror showing you where you betray yourself. That creative project you keep postponing because it feels indulgent, the dream already handed you the key and told you this is the door to your authenticity. Living in alignment with dream guidance is the most radical act possible in a world designed to keep you asleep, distracted chasing external validation and material security while your soul withers. It's choosing to trust the cosmos over the culture, to trust your inner knowing over the collective agreement about what constitutes a successful life. And yes, it's terrifying, because it means responsibility. You can no longer claim ignorance. You can no longer blame circumstances. If the guidance is clear and you ignore it, you're consciously choosing misalignment. But here's the gift in that terror. You also can no longer doubt your path. When you walk it, when you honor the dreams, when you take the aligned actions, you feel the rightness in your body. You feel the synchronicities confirming each step. You feel the guides, your future self, celebrating because you're closing the gap. You're becoming who you already are. The ancient Hermetic axiom states, as above, so below, as within, so without. If the macrocosm is reflected in the microcosm, if the structure of the cosmos mirrors the structure of consciousness, then perhaps the greatest mystery isn't about angels at all. Perhaps the mystery is this: if consciousness gives rise to reality, if the divine intellect dreams the universe into being, and if you are a node of that consciousness, then every dream you have is you participating in creation itself. When you dream, you're not just receiving guidance. You're actively co-creating with the intelligence that underlies all things. You're dreaming the world forward, choosing the timeline, collapsing the infinite potentials into the actual. The guides aren't pulling you toward a fixed future. They're showing you the future that becomes real if you choose it, and your choice in the waking world determines which of the infinite dream futures manifests. Plotinus taught that the One, the ultimate source, emanates the divine intellect, which emanates the world soul, which emanates individual souls. But he also taught that the process flows in reverse. Through contemplation, through alignment, through rising in consciousness, the individual soul can ascend back through the world soul, merge with the divine intellect, and briefly touch the One, the source of all being. Dreamwalking might be the most direct path for that ascent, because in deep sleep, the ego dissolves, the separation softens, and you become once again what you never stopped being, a spark of infinite consciousness playing at being human. So here's the question that can never be fully answered. The question you'll carry with you long after this video ends. If your dreams are the meeting place between your human self and your divine self, if the angels are your eternity speaking to your temporality, if consciousness is both the dreamer and the dream, then who exactly is the you that wakes up each morning? Are you the human learning to remember your divinity? Or are you the divine temporarily forgetting itself, and the dreams are the alarm clock ringing in eternity, trying to wake you up before the incarnation ends? Maybe you're both. Maybe the paradox is the point. Maybe the guides aren't here to give you answers, but to keep you asking questions that shatter every certainty and rebuild you into something closer to truth. The mystics across every tradition arrived at the same maddening, beautiful conclusion. The seeker and the sought are one. The dreamer and the guide are one. The question and the answer are one. And the purpose of dreamwalking, the purpose of all spiritual practice, isn't to find something outside yourself, but to recognize what's been inside all along, whispering your name in the dark, waiting for you to finally turn around and see. If these ideas stir something in you, if they resonate with a part of you that knows this isn't fantasy but forgotten memory, consider subscribing. This channel is a journey into mysteries like this, not a destination. There are no final answers here, only deeper questions, only more layers of the veil lifting, and maybe that's exactly what the guides want. Not followers, but fellow travelers willing to walk between worlds and report back what we find. The dreamscape is waiting. Your guides are waiting. Your future self is waiting. And tonight, when you close your eyes, the question is simple. Will you meet them? The hunt continues.